So the question for today is Ethereum versus Solana, which is better? What are the differences between the two? I would just say, as the saying goes, different strokes for different folks. I don't really think that one is especially better than the other. If you look at all of the smart contract chains, then Ethereum is kind of considered the daddy, but really only because it was the first major one, the first real one to actually get anywhere. So that's the only reason that I would say that. And you do have two different camps of people supporting one or the other, and for a long time I remember that some in the ETH camp would look down on those in the Solana camp and point out its limitations, and I think they've been kind of proven wrong of late, because meme coins aren't exactly a great use case, but they've been a great test for the network, for Solana, to see if it can support a large number of users and a high throughput of transactions. And I don't really like meme coins. They don't really serve any purpose except just for some idle enjoyment, I suppose, but there's no real human value to meme coins. But they've really proven that the Solana network has really matured and stepped up. And when you now look at Ethereum, people are saying, well, where's the innovation? You keep saying that this is coming and it's all about stability and all this kind of stuff. Well, people want to see features. They're not interested in a timeline that takes over a year to introduce like the next major stability feature. Nobody really cares about that, right? There's nothing sexy about it. So anyway, let's just cover the basics, right? What's Ethereum came first, and it is the by market cap the biggest smart contract chain. In fact, out of all cryptos, it's number 2 behind Bitcoin. So it's way ahead of the other chains. Now, there have been various pretenders to the throne over the years, and even before Solana you had Cardano, which at one point I think was number 3. This is several years ago, and then it just dropped. It dropped out of the top 10, I think, at some point, because Cardano was like, it was always a lot of hype and a lot of talk, and people would joke, well, where's the features, right? And there were some cool features. Like there was staking that didn't require you to lock up your coins. That was pretty cool. But all in all, it was pretty lacking, and yeah, it dropped out. And then you had another pretender to the throne, which was Binance Smart Chain, which obviously has a captive audience of anyone using Binance, and Binance is one of the biggest exchanges in the world. And that had a lot of development activity on it, but it did have like a lot of kind of really crappy coins. I want to call them meme coins. They weren't really called that then, and yeah, but it did have a lot of meme coins, and it had a lot of weird coins as well, and that's kind of fallen from grace a little bit, or kind of gone quiet. It never will drop out because it has such a captive audience. Lately what you're seeing is Coinbase have a smart contract chain. They actually have a level 2 chain on Ethereum called Base, and that's really cool. And Coinbase is a very serious exchange and has some really good development going on there. Anyway, I just want to give you a flavor of who's challenged Ethereum and been unsuccessful until Solana came about. And then what happened is, even then the ETH maxis were saying, well, look at Solana, you claim you're a high throughput chain, but on a busy day the network breaks and has a period of downtime. And if I remember correctly, there were at least 3 or 4 serious incidents where the network just was unavailable for hours at a time in the last few years. And the ETH maxis would laugh. So ETH has always been more stable. ETH has a huge development community. It's always attracted the best developers, really, in many ways. And it's always favored itself about being very secure. Both of them use slightly different consensus mechanisms. ETH is proof of stake. Solana is proof of history with proof of stake. I mentioned that Solana can support more transactions, a high throughput. 65,000 transactions per second, whereas ETH is only around about 30, which is not very many. But of course, it has other chains as well, side chains, level 2 chains. So because of layer 2, then the layer 1 speed is not really so important. But Solana's argument is, why do you need layer 2? Why do you need all these roll-ups? What do you need all this stuff for? Why not just make your layer 1 amazing? And ETH has always been like, well, you can't do that if you want to maximize. It's something called the trilemma, and the trilemma is to be scalable, secure, and decentralized. And it's always been the argument with ETH that you can't have, well, the argument coming from ETH maxis, that you can't have all three. You can't be max out on scalability and be secure and also decentralized. There's a trade-off, and you have to give one of them up. And I think that's largely true. But yeah, I think in a way it's not as simple as they make out. But yeah, I mean, so ETH has scalability, but it needs layer 2, whereas Solana doesn't need that. And in terms of decentralization, yes, ETH is more decentralized. It has more validators, although many would argue actually that it's not as decentralized as it looks. But generally, it's thought that Solana is less decentralized. But you know what? A lot of people just don't care, right? It's not completely centralized, and for many people, just partially decentralized is good enough. Otherwise, they do pretty much the same thing. I will say though that fees are lower on Solana. So a lot of people moaned about fees on Ethereum for a long time, and the ETH maxes would just say, well, layer 2s are coming, and that will solve the problem. And it has, but nevertheless, fees on Solana are just way lower, and it doesn't need a layer 2. So which is better? The argument for ETH being better, it gets less and less and less with every year that goes by. And now you got all this talk about, well, the leadership's looking a bit rocky, and ETH has lost so much value in the last year, not only in US dollar terms but also against BTC in BTC terms. There was once upon a time where ETH dominance was rising, and it was looking. I forget what it was going to be called, but it looked like at one point that ETH might overtake Bitcoin. That there was talk at the time, well, hey, it can do everything that Bitcoin can do and better. And those days are long gone. ETH has been super disappointing. And there are some people who are like, well, I don't understand it, right? It has the biggest and best development community, the most development. It has everything that need to take time on for stability reasons. They've done. It's got really smart and thoughtful leadership and all this kind of stuff. And meanwhile, you've got up and coming coins like Solana that just got on with it and said, stop trying to go at Stone Age speed, and you can go at lightning speed, and give people what they want. And that's what Solana has done, basically. So it is now pretty much vying possibly to be the top smart contract chain against Ethereum. For a lot of people who only put a few coins in their portfolio, previously it might have just been BTC and ETH, a lot of them are now adding Solana. So it just goes to show how much more it's respected now. And yeah, a lot of that is due to meme coins, this phenomenon, which is kind of crazy to think about. So I would never say choose between ETH or choose between Solana from an investment perspective. I mean, you can always have both and make your own assessment. And a lot of people say that ETH is vastly undervalued, like it just can't go down anymore, and surely it's going to bounce back. Who knows? Nothing is written. Nothing is written in stone that it's definitely going to happen. No one can say for sure. It could be that ETH just becomes almost like a stable coin, right? At rock bottom value, and it shouldn't be bought for growth. It just has a great utility, and it is not an investment proposition. Whereas Solana, you can definitely say it's nowhere near as mature as ETH. In that respect, you would argue that there's more price action potential there. So anyway, that's my comparison of ETH and Solana. But you may disagree with me. In fact, I would expect someone to disagree with me. So please leave a comment. What do you think down below, and give this video a like. And I will speak to you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.